Listen closely, because what I'm about to tell you might just be the moment your entire life shifts direction. It's not motivation. It's not magic. It's the one truth successful people live by, and the rest of the world ignores. They finish what they start. Most people don't fail because they can't do it. They fail because they never finish it. They start strong, full of fire, full of plans, and then silence, excuses, distractions. They disappear halfway through their own dreams. You know that feeling when you start something with excitement, maybe a business, a course, a fitness goal, and a week later, the energy fades? That's not laziness. That's the invisible enemy of achievement, unfinished energy. Every time you quit, your brain learns quitting is safe. But every time you finish, your brain rewires itself for power, confidence and control. That's why the rich get richer, not because of luck, but because they've trained themselves to complete things, no matter how small. Let me tell you something powerful. The universe doesn't reward effort. It rewards completion. 1,000 unfinished efforts are worth less than one completed task, because completion builds identity, and identity builds destiny. Think of it. When Thomas Edison failed 10,000 times, he wasn't chasing perfection. He was finishing each experiment. When Henry Ford went bankrupt twice, he wasn't quitting. He was completing the lesson. Every completion makes you unshakable. Every unfinished goal weakens you quietly from the inside. So here's the truth. Brutal but beautiful. Your dreams don't need more ideas. They need more finishing energy. If you truly want to change your income, your habits, your life, make this your code. I finish what I start. Say it again. Whisper it. Feel it. Because once your mind believes it, everything else starts to follow. When I was a young man studying hundreds of millionaires, I found something they all had in common. They hated leaving anything halfway. They would rather fail completely than quit halfway. Why? Because quitting kills momentum, and momentum is wealth. Momentum is that invisible force that multiplies results. You've seen it. When a man starts from nothing, works day and night, and suddenly everything clicks. Deals, recognition, success, all at once. That's not luck. That's momentum built by completion. And here's the trap most people fall into. They confuse starting with progress. They think writing down goals is success. They think planning is achievement. But the truth? Nothing matters until you finish. Imagine your life right now. How many open tabs are there in your mind? Unfinished projects, unread books, half-built ideas. Each one drains your focus, your confidence, your peace. You're carrying mental clutter that's silently blocking your energy. You want to win? Close the loops. Finish the unfinished. End the open chapters. Because every time you complete something, no matter how small, you tell your subconscious, I am a finisher. I am not ordinary. And that changes everything. You start walking differently. You start talking differently. People feel your certainty. Ugh, that quiet energy of a man or woman who does what they say they'll do. That's power. Real power. The world doesn't need more talkers. It needs finishers. And the moment you become one, your life starts compounding. Let me tell you something about the universe. It only gives more to those who use what they already have. You don't need new opportunities. You need to finish the ones in front of you. And if right now you're thinking, but Napoleon, I've failed too many times, let me stop you right there. Failure means nothing unless you quit. Every time you get back up, you're not starting over. You're starting from experience. Listen, there's a version of you that already has the success, the money, the peace you dream of. But you'll never meet that version until you finish what's in your hands right now. So from this moment, draw a line. You are no longer a starter. You are a finisher. When you start something, you finish it. When you commit, you deliver. When you promise, you execute. Because that's what separates the average from the immortal. Remember, the secret of getting things done is to get them done. No waiting, no fear, no hesitation. You do it now. You do it fully. You do it until it's done. That's how greatness is built. Not in inspiration, but in completion. Let me tell you something you may have never realized before. Finishing is not about energy, it's about identity. You can drink all the coffee, watch all the motivation videos, and still not get things done. Why? Because it's not your identity yet. Until you see yourself as a finisher, every new idea will die halfway through your hesitation. You have to build the image of a person who doesn't stop. The kind of person who says, if I said I'd do it, it's already done. I just have to catch up to it in time. That's how winners think. That's how doers build empires. I once asked a millionaire, what separates you from the man who works harder than you? He smiled and said, he works hard until he's tired. I work until it's done. And that, my friend, is the dividing line between mediocrity and mastery. Because there's a secret law of the universe. It only opens its treasures to those who prove they can handle small completions before big ones. If you can't finish small tasks, you'll never be trusted with great opportunities. And that's why life keeps testing you with tiny things. A simple email you delay, a small commitment you ignore, a call you don't return. Every unfinished moment is a message to the universe. I can't handle more. But the moment you flip the switch and start completing, closing, executing, she responds immediately. People start trusting you more. Doors start opening faster. Not because of luck, but because completion creates magnetic credibility. Listen, the human brain is a completion-seeking machine. That's why you can't rest when a song gets stuck in your head. Your mind wants closure. Use that same wiring to your advantage. Once you start something, your brain wants to finish it. Don't fight it, feed it. Make finishing your addiction. When you cross that line, when you check that box, when you complete that call, reward yourself mentally. Say, that's who I am. I finish. Because every completion strengthens the self-image that says, I'm unstoppable. And once that identity locks in, you become dangerous in the best way possible. Dangerous to excuses. Dangerous to procrastination. Dangerous to the comfort zone. You'll start seeing the world differently. While others are looking for the next opportunity, you'll be finishing the one that's already in your hands. While they talk about someday, you'll be saying, done. But here's something deeper. Sometimes the reason people don't finish isn't fear or laziness. It's perfection. They want things to be flawless before they end it. They want the timing right, the feedback good, the result guaranteed. And in that pursuit of perfect, they lose progress. Perfection is the most beautiful disguise of procrastination, and it has stolen more dreams than failure ever did. You don't need perfection. You need movement. You don't need to be right. You need to be done, because done creates clarity, and clarity creates the next step. Every finished task is like clearing fog from your road. Suddenly, the next turn becomes visible. Think about a plane. It burns the most fuel during takeoff, not while flying. Finishing is the takeoff of success. It's where the most energy is required. But once you lift off, momentum carries you forward with less effort. That's why most people stay on the runway. They start engines, make noise, talk big, and never leave the ground. But the one who pushes through the resistance, even when it's hard, even when it's scary, that's the one who takes off. And once you're in the air, you see the world differently. What looked impossible on the ground starts looking small from above. That's the power of completion. Every time you finish something, your confidence compounds. Your self-belief multiplies. Your inner voice changes from "can I" to "watch me." You start to see that the real enemy wasn't time, or money, or even skill. It was the comfort of stopping too soon. You see, the world is full of starters. Dreamers, planners, thinkers, but it's built by finishers. The bridge you cross, the phone you hold, the light in your room, all exist because someone finished their work. Someone said, "I won't go to bed until this is done." That's the kind of fire that builds civilizations. So here's a small but powerful exercise. Tonight, before you sleep, finish something small. Send that message. Complete that email. Organize that file. And when you do, pause for a second and feel that calm pride inside your chest. That's not just satisfaction, that's self-respect. Because every act of finishing is a vote for your future self. It's proof that you can be trusted by others, and most importantly, by you. When you trust yourself, the world starts trusting you too. Because people don't follow talent, they follow certainty. And the man who finishes what he starts is always certain. I've seen people double their income, heal their relationships and rebuild their lives, not because they found a new opportunity, but because they started finishing the old ones. You don't need a new start. You need a clean finish. And here's the beautiful twist. When you finish one thing completely, you unlock energy you didn't even know you had. It's like mental oxygen. Suddenly, you think clearer, sleep better, and feel lighter. Because unfinished work is emotional weight, and finishing is freedom. So I ask you tonight, what's one thing you've been carrying too long? One project, one promise, one dream that's still hanging in the air. Pick it, finish it. Don't wait for the perfect day. Make this day the perfect one. Because when you do, you'll realize something powerful. Success doesn't start with effort. It starts with closure. And closure is the doorway to your next level. The secret of getting things done isn't about time management. It's about decision management. Once you decide it will be done, truly decide, everything else aligns to make it happen. That's the kind of energy millionaires live in. That's the code the universe respects. Because when you commit fully, life itself gets out of your way. So finish something today, no matter how small. Because that one act could be the spark that lights the fire of everything you've ever wanted. You know, it's strange. One small act of completion, one message sent, one promise kept, one task done, can ignite a fire inside you that changes everything. Because momentum is a sacred thing. Once it starts, it doesn't stop. But here's the truth most people never face. Momentum dies the moment you hesitate. Every time you delay what you know you should finish, you dim the light of your own destiny. And every time you take action, even a small one, you fan that flame back to life. You see, success is not built on massive leaps. It's built on 1,000 small completions that stack up quietly behind the scenes. Until one day, the world calls it overnight success. But there's no overnight in greatness. There's only discipline. There's only follow-through. There's only the daily decision to do what you said you would do. And here's something I learned from the greatest minds who ever lived. They didn't wait for motivation. They created it by moving. Motion creates emotion. You can't think your way into greatness. You act your way into it. The man who walks forward, even when he doesn't feel ready, builds a confidence the world can't shake. While the one who waits to feel inspired waits forever. There's a war happening inside you right now, between the part that dreams and the part that delays. Between your higher self whispering, "Go finish it," and your weaker self begging, "Maybe later." The side you feed is the one that wins. Feed your finisher, because every time you finish, you reclaim a piece of your power that hesitation once stole. You rebuild your self-trust. And that, my friend, is the foundation of destiny. Let me tell you something personal. When I began studying the laws of success, I was broke, lost, and surrounded by people who told me I couldn't make it. But I made a promise to myself. I would finish what I started, no matter how long it took. And years later, that simple rule became the bridge between poverty and prosperity. It became the reason Think and Grow Rich even exists today. Not because I was the smartest man in the room, but because I refused to leave the room unfinished. You see, the people who win in life don't have easier paths. They just don't exit early. They face fear and keep walking. They face failure and keep learning. They face fatigue and keep moving, because they know every step forward is a step closer to freedom. And here's the paradox. When you finally stop quitting, life stops testing you. The moment you prove to life that you can finish something, life stops giving you the same lesson. It promotes you to the next level. But if you keep running away before the finish line, you'll keep living the same year again and again, calling it bad luck. It's not bad luck. It's unfinished business. So ask yourself, what am I leaving halfway? What dream have I postponed? What promise did I break to myself? Because the truth is, your unfinished dreams don't disappear. They just sit in the back of your mind, collecting dust, whispering, you could have been more. And those whispers become heavy. They turn into anxiety, regret, and sleepless nights. Not because you failed, but because you never finished. The cure isn't self-help books or morning affirmations. It's completion. It's finishing what you already started. Finish that business plan. Finish that project. Finish your healing. Finish your transformation. You don't need another how-to. You just need to do it till it's done. Because once you do, the world opens in ways you couldn't imagine. Opportunities that once ignored, you start appearing. People begin trusting you, and you begin trusting yourself. You'll look back one day and realize every breakthrough in your life came right after something you finished. The call you made, the email you sent, the work you didn't postpone. Each one was a key unlocking the next door. And when all those completions add up, they build a legacy. Because what the world remembers is not who started the most, but who finished the most. Remember this. The finishers of the world are the leaders of the world. The talkers fade, the starters scatter. But the finishers, they stand on stages. They change industries. They rewrite history. So today, I'm not asking you to dream bigger. I'm asking you to finish better. Because finishing is a habit. And once it becomes who you are, the universe can't stop giving you more to finish. Listen closely. Your future self is watching you right now. He's whispering, don't stop here. This time go all the way. He's waiting for you at the finish line, holding the life you were meant to live. And when you finally get there, you'll realize something sacred. It was never about being perfect. It was about being persistent. You don't need to be faster. You don't need to be luckier. You just need to finish again and again until the world can't ignore you. So from this moment, make this your vow. I will finish what I start, no matter how long it takes, no matter how hard it feels. I finish. Because every finisher becomes a force, and every force becomes a legacy. And that legacy, your legacy, begins with what you decide to complete today. So don't just dream, don't just plan, don't just start, finish. Because the secret of getting things done isn't in doing more, it's in ending what you began. And if you do that again and again, one day you'll look back and smile, because the life you were chasing was waiting at the finish line all along.